In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. My beloved in Christ, this person is about to get arrested for taking your don't scroll. Don't blink. Don't breathe too loud, because something huge is about to happen and you need to be the first to know. The person who thought they could rob you and walk away quietly is finally caught in the grip of justice. They crossed the line when they took what was never theirs. And now the walls are closing in faster than they imagined. You've been sensing something strange around you. A tension in the air. A silence so loud it almost deafens the truth trying to reach you. The storm that's been brewing in the background is now ready to hit. And this time the thunder will strike the very heart of the betrayal. It's not just about what they took. It's about who they targeted. You, the one person they thought would never find out. But what they didn't know was that their shadow moves were being watched from the very beginning. They were confident, too confident, smirking behind fake smiles, pretending to support you, standing beside you while their hands dug into the very core of what belonged to you. But even shadows can't stay hidden forever. The light has arrived and it is exposing everything. They whispered lies to cover their tracks. They created stories to make you doubt yourself. But the truth has teeth. And now it's biting back. They forged, signed, manipulated, and moved things in your name, property, identity, finances, and something far more personal. Something they should have never touched. But in their greed, they crossed a divine boundary. And there is no forgiveness for what they've done in silence. A silent alarm has already been triggered. Not in the world of sirens and police cars, but in a higher realm. And when divine justice speaks, earthly consequences follow. Their time is up. And the handcuffs are metaphorically already on. They tried to remove your name from what was rightfully yours. They accessed accounts, locked drawers, private information, acting as if you wouldn't notice, as if the universe wouldn't correct the wrong. But now those very files, those very keys are the evidence that will trap them forever. And here's what's more chilling. They did it smiling, sitting across from you, saying things like, "I've got your back." While in reality, they were removing every stone you stood on. But the foundation you were given is spiritual. They can steal papers, not destiny. A name has surfaced. Your name, but not in a courtroom, in a heavenly scroll, marked, protected, watched. And right now, the very power of divine justice is placing your name where it was always meant to be, at the top, free from the chains of betrayal. The person who tried to erase you is now being erased from positions they manipulated to occupy quietly, strategically, legally. Their actions are being reviewed line by line. And guess who's being called in for questioning? A call has already gone out. Not just to an officer, but to a higher authority. One that doesn't make mistakes. You don't need to lift a finger. You don't need revenge. Because what's coming is bigger than anything you could imagine. Someone has reviewed the footage. Someone has flagged the transaction. Someone has checked the signature. And the timestamp proves one thing. It wasn't you. It was them. And now the evidence is being collected in silence, ready to be unveiled. They laughed when they got away with it. But the last laugh belongs to truth. Their confidence is turning to sweat. Because deep down, they always knew you weren't someone to mess with. They just forgot how powerful silence becomes when it is backed by divine protection. They're walking into a trap of their own making. Every lie they told is leading them deeper. Every message they deleted is being recovered. Every person they manipulated is now turning on them. And clock. It's almost out of time. You were meant to receive something that was delayed. But this delay wasn't denial. It was proof collection. The reason it hasn't come to you yet is because the wrong person had their hand on it. But now that hand is being forcefully removed. They went to great lengths, fake papers, changed passwords, pretended to be you, even used your documents in places you never knew existed. But the system is reversing and the footprint is all over the crime. You're going to hear about it. A message, a letter, a quiet announcement, but it will shake the ground beneath your feet, because justice, long awaited, divinely delayed, deeply overdue, is arriving. And they can't stop it now. What they stole wasn't small. It could be land, it could be inheritance, it could be something you thought was long gone. But no, it was hidden, not lost. And now the searchlight is on, and it's pointing directly at them. They underestimated the power of silence. But silence records, it observes, it testifies without warning. And when the time comes, silence becomes the loudest scream of truth. Stay calm, stay quiet. Don't announce what you know. Let the process unfold, because the person who tried to erase you is about to be erased from every file, every document, every memory they hijacked. They are being summoned, not by a lawyer, not by a judge, but by consequence itself. And when it arrives, it doesn't knock, it breaks in. A person close to them is going to confess, not out of guilt, but out of fear. Fear of being next, fear of being tied to the crime. And that confession will be the final nail in this story. Prepare yourself emotionally, because the truth you've been waiting for is not just coming, it's arriving with proof. You'll see numbers, codes, emails, paper trails. You won't even need to argue. The facts will speak for themselves. And when they speak, the world will listen. The moment they thought would never come is now crashing through every lie they told. They kept thinking no one would notice, that the signatures they faked, the passwords they changed, the keys they stole would all stay buried. But the buried truth is now resurrecting itself with a roar that can't be ignored. You were quiet for too long, but not because you were weak, because divine timing was building a case so strong, not even the devil could break it. And now the moment has arrived. The taker is being taken down. Your name was dragged through things you never consented to. Financial forms, legal files, trust documents, even bank level permissions you never granted. But now everything is being pulled back straight into your hands. They used your ID. They showed up pretending to be someone with access. And worse, they were trusted. That's what makes this thing harder. It wasn't a stranger. It was someone who had your face in their gallery and your name in their mouth. But betrayal has fingerprints. And every single one of theirs is now surfacing under forensic light. The pen they used, the device they logged in with, the IP address they thought was untraceable. Everything is stacking up, and it's not in their favor. Someone from the inside has flipped. A silent watcher who kept quiet is now turning on them, because they realize what's being taken is not just property, it's destiny. And heaven won't allow that kind of theft without divine backlash. You are going to be shocked when you find out what they tried to transfer. It's more than money. It's land, it's titles, it's access to resources you didn't even know were yours. Legacies your bloodline protected. And they tried to snatch it behind your back like you were some forgotten child. But you weren't forgotten. You were preserved. Because if you had seen what was happening earlier, your emotions would have gotten in the way. But now you are spiritually sharper, emotionally stronger, and legally backed by a force that will not rest until every paper is corrected. There's a location involved. A house, a vault, a plot, something physical. It was signed off using your identity, but their greed blinded them to one thing. Divine proof never expires. A mail is about to arrive. Or maybe a discreet call. Maybe even a message sent by someone anonymous. But it's going to confirm everything you've been suspecting, and beyond that, reveal new layers of what was hidden. They created a web of deceit, but forgot one rule. Webs are sticky even for spiders. Now they're caught in their own trap. Their own mouth will convict them. Their own documents will betray them. And their own circle crumbling one by one. Because truth doesn't need an army. It only needs light. You were supposed to inherit something this year, but they blocked it. They intercepted the letter. They made a call pretending to be you. But the universe kept a record, and now it's resending what was once delayed. You're going to see a name soon. Maybe in a report, maybe in a whispered conversation. But that name will match the one you trusted the most, and that's what will shake you to your core, because it wasn't an enemy, it was a friend in disguise. They didn't need it, they just didn't want you to have it. That's what this is really about. It was never about the thing, it was about your rise. They wanted to delay your elevation, but instead they fast-tracked your victory, because what they triggered was a divine reversal. Every secret room they entered is now being searched. Every USB they hid is being scanned. Every silent agreement is being broadcast in divine chambers. And every lie they whispered is now echoing louder than their fake alibis. What's coming is unavoidable. It won't look like drama. It won't be a movie scene. It will be quiet, legal, unstoppable, a cancellation. Avoiding a transfer back into your name while they sit in disbelief, wondering how it all came crashing down so fast. And here's the twist. Someone they used as a pawn has flipped sides. A driver, a clerk, an assistant, someone whose silence they bought is now speaking. And that voice, it's louder than any evidence because it carries first-hand experience and it cannot be unspoken. You may even be called in not for questioning but for confirmation. And when that moment arrives, your presence alone will speak volumes, because you were always the rightful one. Keep your calm. Your name is being cleared. Your assets are being restored. And your dignity, it's being upgraded. The walls around them are no longer quiet. Their heartbeat is louder than their lies now, because someone finally spoke. Someone they never expected would open their mouth, open their soul instead. And the confession they released has become the turning point that can't be reversed. The truth came out in a room they thought was safe. A whisper became a statement. A doubt became a confirmation. And the person you trusted, the one who always smiled in your presence, their name is officially being written on the report. They've been followed not by humans but by signs, warnings, synchronicities, and now actual investigation. Their hands, once so confident while forging, are now trembling when they hold a phone, because every call could be the call. They know the arrest is coming. They feel it in the silence of the night, in the way people look at them now, in the coldness of the ones who used to support them. Because the truth doesn't just expose, it isolates. Your file has been reopened. That account they tried to claim in your name being reversed. That land they claimed had no heir, now has your name engraved across it. The bank that once froze you out is now reaching out to apologize, because the power of truth is correcting every error in your life. This moment is bigger than justice. It's personal. They thought no one would believe you, but the evidence they created with their own hands is now stacked against them. Their fingerprints, their digital trail, their call logs, even their steps, all synced into one undeniable confession. And it's not coming from them willingly. It's coming from someone inside. The person they tried to bribe has turned over the full file. Every login, every access point, every ID they used pretending to be you. A full report has been handed in, and it's about to break the silence wide open. You're going to see the shift soon. It could start with a phone call from an agency or an unknown number inviting you to verify a few minor details. Don't panic. That's just the beginning of your official restoration, because everything that was stolen is circling back. And here's where it gets bigger. This wasn't just about money. It was about identity, about legal standing, about inheritance that was supposed to elevate you this year. They tried to cancel your legacy. But the one thing they forgot is you are spiritually backed. They used legal tools to fight you, but divine authority doesn't play by human paperwork. And now the very lawyer who tried to delay your case is being summoned because documents have surfaced that show clear manipulation. And the judge they thought was on their side already knows the truth. One signature is all it's going to take now. Just one from your hand, not theirs. And when that ink dries, everything switches, titles, rights, property, access. It all returns to you as if it never left. And they will be left with the weight of their own deception. Their allies are backing out now, because no one wants to go down with them. They're being avoided, ignored, disconnected. The smiles are gone. The calls are dry because everyone can feel what's coming. A silent public downfall. The kind of fall that doesn't require sirens. Just a courtroom, a verdict, and the irreversible stamp of guilt. Not even money can erase what they've done now. Because it wasn't just theft, it was betrayal. And betrayal always collects its price. You, on the other hand, are rising slowly then all at once. Your name is entering rooms you were locked out of. Your signature is being requested on forms that once had access denied, stamped across them. The reversal is official, and it's irreversible. They were warned in dreams, in feelings, in strange delays, but they ignored every sign. And now the very thing they tried to destroy you is the thing that's being celebrated. You are being vindicated not by revenge, but by truth. Let them talk, let them panic, let them sweat, because your silence has already spoken. The final hour is ticking louder than ever before. They can't hide anymore. Not behind fake names. Not behind old favors. Not behind that temporary circle that once protected them. Because the truth has made its way into the system. And now the system is calling. They've received a notice, a summon disguised as a routine check. But what's about to happen is not routine. It's confrontation with truth. And this time, there is no exit door waiting for them. You, meanwhile, are being watched not in fear, but in respect. The ones who once doubted you are slowly turning their gaze. They see you weren't lying, that your silence wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. And now they're trying to figure out how you held on so long without screaming. But the most powerful part, you didn't need to scream, because evidence did the screaming for you. The documents they altered, they've resurfaced, and the changes they made are obvious now. The accounts they accessed trace the properties they tried to shift frozen, and soon everything will be unlocked, but only for you. They had time to confess, but they chose denial. They thought their money could buy silence forever. But now silence has turned into sound. And that sound is a name being read aloud in a cold room with investigators watching every flicker of their expression. Your name is being reattached to land, to funds, to documents, to power. What they tried to undo is being redone in divine order. This is not revenge. This is correction. And when correction comes from a higher realm, it doesn't knock. It breaks open every locked door. This case is now in motion. It's not whispers anymore. It's not speculation. It's a formal case with charges, with digital proof, with timelines that match their every move. Their own devices have betrayed them, their own fingerprints, their own greed. And when the officer shows up, there will be no warning, just a calm hand on their shoulder, a few words, and the tightening grip of the law. That's when they'll realize this is real. The cameras won't be needed. The headlines will write themselves because the weight of their betrayal is enough to silence every excuse. While they break, you will rise. You'll receive a letter stamped, signed, legal, and inside it will say what you were always meant to see, your name in the position they tried to erase you from. You'll feel it in your chest, the restoration, the justice, the peace. But it doesn't end there, because this is not just about getting back what was stolen. It's about becoming who you really are. The one who can't be erased. The one who doesn't need to fight loud because truth fights for them. Your silence is your armor and their exposure. It's now their prison. The lies are collapsing like dominoes, each one falling into the next. And the final one, the biggest one, is about to explode into a confession they can no longer escape. You may see the news or you may hear it through someone else. But either way, the message will be the same. They've been taken in. And suddenly, people will treat you differently. Not because they've changed, but because the truth changed everything. You are now the rightful holder of what was stolen. Keys, titles, accounts, names, even reputation. Everything is returning and it's being sealed in a way that no one can touch again. The case is closed. But your journey, it's just beginning. This isn't just victory, it's vindication. It's the moment your name is removed from suspect and placed on survivor, from forgot to favored, from blocked to blessed. They tried to end your future, but instead they wrote your beginning, and the story now belongs to you. The silence has broken. The name has been called. They never thought it would go public, but it has. Not just behind closed doors. Now it's out there. The whispers have become shouts. The hidden files are now open tabs. And what they did to you has officially become part of their legacy. A knock came earlier than expected. No flashing lights, no shouting, just quiet steps, measured voices, and a paper in hand that said everything without needing a word. Warrant issued. The time had run out. They were stunned, not because they didn't know what they did, but because they believed they'd gotten away with it. They thought their timing, their lies, their tricks were perfect. But nothing built on theft stands forever. And now it's collapsing. The arrest happened quickly. They didn't even have time to warn their circle. Phones seized, emails frozen, accounts locked, and one final chance to speak before being escorted out. They didn't cry, not then. But the look in their eyes said it all. This wasn't supposed to happen like this, but it did because you were protected the entire time. While they worked in the dark, divine hands were moving pieces in silence, putting people in place, preserving evidence, waiting for the exact moment where every piece of the puzzle would align. And now that moment has arrived. You will feel the shift. Strangers will look at you with a new energy. The ones who once doubted you will lower their heads in silence. They see it now that you weren't just a victim. You were chosen, covered. Watch the target of something big, because something bigger lives in you. A courtroom will echo soon, and in it your name will be spoken, not with suspicion, but with honor. The judge will have no doubts. The papers are clear, the confessions are solid, the evidence is loud. This is not about whether you win, it's how much is restored. You'll get it all back. The funds, the property, the authority, even the respect. Every document that had been altered will now be voided. Every account they tried to access is now being retitled in your name. The transfer is done and it is final. But there's more, because after this legal storm comes your divine spotlight. People will know your story, not for pity, but as a testimony of what it means to endure betrayal and still come out clean, of what it means to be robbed and still rise like royalty. Your life now enters its new chapter, one without lies, one without false connections, one without whispered warnings. This chapter is protected by truth, by clarity, by power. You don't need to explain anymore. You don't need to defend. The world has seen the facts. The truth is louder than anything now. They will face judgment. Not just from the law, but from the very people they fooled. Their friends, their clients, their supporters, all now slowly stepping away because no one wants to stand next to the one who stole from light. Your path ahead is clean. You'll be offered things. New doors will open. People who once rejected you will now ask to partner. But remember, you've changed. You now walk with knowledge, with sharp discernment, with unshakable identity. Because pain taught you who you really are. You were never weak. You were never behind. You were being prepared. And now that you have seen what darkness looks like, you will never be fooled again. You know what fake looks like. You know what manipulation sounds like. And most importantly, you now know what justice feels like. So walk into this next season, head held high, shoulders back, not with anger, not with revenge, but with quiet, grounded confidence. Because what's yours has been returned. What was stolen has been restored. And what was broken has now become your crown. Let them whisper. Let them gossip. The truth has spoken louder than all of them. And you are now untouchable. The storm is over. But the echo of what just happened is still shaking the ground they used to stand on. Their name once attached to you is now removed from every space, every page, every legal corner where they didn't belong. And yours, it's been elevated. The same world that watched in silence is now witnessing your rise step by step. You don't need to say a word. Your presence now speaks louder than anything you could ever explain. Because when truth wins, it glows around the one who carried it. And right now, that glow is over you. Quiet, unshakable, respected. They tried to make you invisible, but now you are unavoidable. News has spread not just in the legal files, not just through the officials, but in the hearts of people. Those who were watching, silently analyzing, waiting to see who would stand. And now, they know you stood when everything tried to pull you down. A shift is happening in your surroundings. People who never called you are calling. People who once talked behind your back are trying to explain. But you don't need apologies. You don't need validation because your spirit is already ahead, focused, forward, and free. Let it all unfold. The headlines may fade, the reports may be filed away, but the impact of what just happened will last forever. Because this wasn't just a legal moment. This was spiritual war, and you won. The one who betrayed you. They're not just arrested, they're isolated. Because betrayal doesn't just cost freedom, it costs reputation. No one wants to stand beside a liar. No one trusts a thief, and no one will follow someone who tried to rob an innocent soul. But you're rising into invitation. Invitations into rooms you were once locked out of. Emails that begin with, "We'd love to have you," opportunities that were delayed are now finding you like magnets. This is your time, and nothing can hold it back anymore. You were once hidden in the shadows of what they did to you. But now you shine because of what you didn't do. You didn't retaliate. You didn't attack. You didn't lose control. You stayed grounded. And that's why heaven lifted you while they fell. You'll walk into places soon, and people will say, "That's the one who survived what was meant to break them." You'll be introduced not by titles or degrees, but by your story. A story of theft, of betrayal, of pain, yes. But more importantly, a story of justice, restoration, and unshakable purpose. What's next? Your story will inspire. You may write it, speak it, teach it, or simply live it in such a way that others around you never again let manipulation blind them. You are now living proof that truth doesn't lose even when it's delayed. And that inheritance, that property, that account, that house, that land, that business idea, that silent fund set aside years ago, it's all coming back, not in broken pieces, but with interest. Because what was held up is now being released with multiplied grace. They thought they destroyed you, but they gave you a new beginning. They thought they stole your future, but they actually delivered you into it. And they thought you'd beg for justice, but instead you've become justice embodied. Their story ends in chains. Yours begins in legacy.